wondering how I got into this mix.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network, and today I want to talk with you about talking to your neighbors and not calling the cops. That's right. Instead of always just thinking, well, somebody committed a crime, somebody ran a stop sign, somebody disobeyed a traffic rule, or let's say even somebody stole from me, or somebody's coming onto my private property, instead of always making your first action be let's call the cops, let's call 911, I think it's important for us to consider other alternatives, community alternatives, ways for us to police, protect, defend, and seek justice within our own communities that don't necessarily have to involve supporting these systems. And it's important to recognize that we can do this, that there are ways for us to actually counteract these various systems and to focus on how we as brothers and sisters can help each other out, can support each other, and don't have to rush straight to call the cops, because often when you get the cops involved in something, someone might have made a very simple mistake, or something they're going to regret later, and I'm thinking of something non-violent, something truly victimless. But let's, especially victimless crimes like smoking cannabis or using drugs or doing things like that, consensual, voluntary activities, you deal with the cops, all of a sudden the cops get involved in somebody's lives, and it's, a heck of a lot worse. Somebody might be having a relationship disagreement and somehow the cops get involved. Then next thing somebody's getting taken to jail, there's accusations being thrown about, and people's lives are ruined, or CPS gets called, and many times it's not even necessary. We don't need the cops to be involved. So I want to show you an example of a friend of mine who goes by the name of Rob Greenfield. He's an adventurer, an activist, just a really awesome dude trying to make a difference. I appreciate him as an activist because I don't think he's necessarily an anarchist, but he's also not an activist that's out there calling for government solutions. He focuses a lot on waste, on the environment, on the destruction of the planet. But again, he doesn't tell people we need to call the government and ask them to fix it. Instead, he does extreme stunts and different exercises to try to get people to pay attention to their own behavior and to see, well, what can I possibly do? He's traveled across the country on a bamboo bicycle. He's, flown down to South America with no money and only a passport and made his way back up to the US. He's done these cross-country bike tours, eating out of dumpsters to show the amount of waste that exists in the United States. And he also did a 30-day exercise called Trash Me, where he wore all of his trash on his body, living like the average American that produces 4 pounds of waste every single day. And just showed people what it looks like carrying all your trash after 30 days. So he's done a lot of great experiments, and I mentioned that he rode his bike across the country. So it's a bamboo bicycle, and recently, earlier this month, it was actually stolen from him, and he used this as an opportunity to talk to people about how we can find, for one, how we can find ways to turn bad deeds, unpleasant things that happen to us, and turn them into good actions and good activities, and also how we don't have to call the cops. So check out this video real quick here and see what Rob's about.
Very few possessions that I have only about 100 possessions to my name, and this is basically one of the most important ones. Obviously, many of you have had bikes stolen before. This is one that was extremely important to me, so it's pretty soul-crushing. But instantly, I had to ask myself, how can I turn this misfortune of mine into someone else's fortune? How can I turn this bad situation into something that's good? That's what I want to do in the world. Thousands of people have their bikes stolen all the time. I'm in a fortunate enough scenario where I can figure out something for myself. But there's a lot of kids out there who have their bikes stolen that live in low-income scenarios where they can't get another one. So what I'm going to do is raise...
So Rob goes on to describe what his goal is, and basically what he decided to do was to turn this into a crowdfunding campaign. And he asked people who were concerned about his case to help him crowdfund some money, and all the money would go towards buying, I think, 10 bikes and giving them out to people who were in need of bicycles, who couldn't afford to, get their own bike. Because I myself, I bike all the time, all over the place. I don't drive, so biking's my main form of transportation. And I could say in the last 7 years, I've probably had 5 different bikes stolen, thousands of dollars worth of bikes that I've paid for taken from me, and it definitely sucks. The other thing is Rob used this as an opportunity to look for the person who was responsible for stealing his bike. He used social media to put a message out there and say, help me find this guy who stole my bike. And it was a local dude, a local homeless guy who's known fairly well out there. And Rob was able to connect with him and talk to him. Again, didn't call the cops, talked to him about why he stole the bike. Obviously he needed transportation and he saw something, didn't probably think too hard about it. Well, Rob gave him an opportunity to see that, okay, not everybody's just going to call the cops on me and put me in a cage. Instead, Rob talked to him and got him to agree to do some community service in exchange for getting his own bike and building himself a bike. So really just an all-around good situation, beautiful situation that Rob turned something negative into positive, crowdfunded some money, getting bikes out into the hands of people who need them, who can't afford them, and also a great lesson in why you don't need to call the cops for every little situation and why it's better to communicate and to talk to your neighbors. Don't talk to cops. And what do you do if one of your neighbors is a cop? Well, I guess they're a person too, but you have to remember that while they are operating in that position, while they are wearing that badge or while they have that gun on their hip and they are following orders, the police are ultimately the defenders, the enforcement agents of the state. And so when it comes down to it, you need to know where your neighbors stand. Do their final allegiances lie with the people, truly with the people, or with being an order follower and just doing their job and not listening to their own sense of morality and justice and ethics? So that's where I would take the conversation. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Be sure to subscribe to the Conscious Resistance Network on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, as well as support on patreon.com/Derrick Broze. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace. Don't talk to cops.